A report by a United Nations Special Rapporteur says Israeli forces are deliberately killing Palestinian women and girls in Gaza, a strategy it calls femi-genocide. It says 67% of the nearly 60,000 Palestinians killed in Gaza are women and girls. The report highlights Israel's use of reproductive violence. 150,000 pregnant women have no access to health care, and 17,000 of them are malnourished. It also says women endure psychological trauma daily from watching their children starved, killed, maimed, or buried alive. The report concludes that Israel is deliberately killing Palestinian women and girls with the intent to destroy the continuity of the Palestinian people. Reem Alsalem, good to have you with us. You're the UN Special Rapporteur on Violence Against Women, and you're the author of that report. You're joining us from Brussels this hour. First of all, this term that you coined, femi-genocide, can you just elaborate on that a little bit and explain what you mean by femi-genocide?
Sure. Let me first preface my comments by saying that, of course, all Palestinians, men, boys, girls, and women are being subjected to this genocidal enterprise in a very sadistic, unprecedented, and relentless manner. But within that also, as I've said in my report, women and girls are deliberately being targeted by Israel because they are Palestinian and because of their reproductive capacity, because Israel realizes that because of this reproductive capacity, Palestinian women and girls carry the promise of the continuity of Palestinian life, and therefore they are being deliberately killed and they're being deliberately exterminated. And as you said, 70% of those killed so far, UN Women estimates there's around 28,000 women that have been killed. Are in fact women and girls. And this is a genocidal act. The Rome Statute and the Convention on the Prevention of Genocide very clearly identifies the prevention of births within a group as an act of genocide. It was included in the case brought forward by South Africa against Israel to the ICJ. I mentioned it also even back in February 2024 because I noticed a very clear pattern. And keep in mind that what distinguishes an act of genocide from any act of killing is the intent. And Israel has made it very clear that it deliberately intends it to target women and children, Palestinian women and children, through its incitement to violence, through the statements of its generals and other actors in society. Therefore, it's very deliberate with the intention of extermination.
I'd like to come back to this point of intent that you're mentioning. But first, let me just ask you this. One more thing you mentioned in your report. You describe Israel's actions as so extreme that, quote, existing concepts in legal and criminal frameworks cannot adequately capture their severity. But what is your response to the argument that what is happening to women and girls is collateral damage of war?
It's absolutely not collateral damage. Just like others, I've struggled to really describe what is unfolding, the horrors that we are witnessing, that are being inflicted for now close to 2 years on Palestinians. And the legal concepts and frameworks really fail to capture the severity and the horrors and the apocalyptic situation that we are facing. And there is already been numerous assessments, not just by scholars, but including also the International Criminal Court, the International Court of Justice has said that there's a plausibility of genocide happening. And again, genocide means there is an intent to destroy in whole and in part.
And on that point of intent, as you're saying, you believe that it is the intentional destruction of women and girls. If I can just add to that, I mean, from the UN Independent International Commission of Inquiry said back in March of this year that the commission finds that the Israeli authorities have destroyed in part the reproductive capacity of the Palestinians in Gaza as a group. So to what extent do all these statements build up in the law that the severity and genocidal nature of what Israel is doing in Gaza?
It's very clear. And if you notice, all the actions taken are geared towards undermining the continuity of Palestinian life, to undermine Palestinian existence, so to exterminate Palestinian life. And we see this through the increased rates of miscarriages among Palestinian women, the severe malnutrition that you referred to. So even pregnant and lactating women are unable to breastfeed. Add to that the fact that baby formula is deliberately being prevented from entering Gaza by Israel. I think the only time it reminds us of what Nazi Germany did in the Stalingrad siege to prevent baby formula from coming in. And so that has increased also the risks to newborn babies. And I also want to say that we have seen also a very increased rate of babies born with deformities, abnormalities that have been also reported by doctors in Gaza with heart diseases, with limb deformities. We had seen some of that following the 2009 Operation Cast led by Israel on Gaza, but of course the incredible use of heavy white phosphorus, toxic gas and munitions, the contamination of water and the soil has also increased the prevalence of newborns with physical and other deformities.
And on the point you make about the pregnant women, you mentioned in your report that there are over 150,000 pregnant and lactating women in Gaza who lack access to food as well as medical care. So can you just talk us through what you believe are the immediate as well as the long-term health consequences for these women and for their newborns, and how it impacts the society as a whole?
Yeah, look, I'm not a medical doctor, but I think several experts have raised alarm bells about this. We know that Gaza has entered level 5 in terms of famine. It's the most severe form of famine, and that, of course, affects women as well. There's at least 17,000 women that suffer from malnutrition, at least 60,000 children under the age of 5. We know 67 children at least have died from starvation, at least 2,600 cases of miscarriage. There's fetal deaths in the hundreds during pregnancies. A number of newborn children have died within the first day of birth. We all still recall the many newborn children that had to be also abandoned during this brutal genocide. And now also because of the lack and shortage of fuel, the lack of food, the lack of water, there's even more risks of death for them, and the congenital malformations that I've mentioned. Add to that also the fact that mothers have been killed. As we said, the psychological scars and trauma suffered by all in Gaza, but I would say particularly by parents, is indescribable, is just of unspeakable proportions. And from that also, we have come with this term, if you recall, of wounded children, no surviving family member, because their parents have been killed. And there are entire families that have been erased from the registry. And again, families are the nucleus of Palestinian lives, and they have been deliberately targeted and wiped off.
Okay, we will leave it there. Reem Alsalem, you're the UN Special Rapporteur on Violence Against Women, speaking to us from Brussels this hour. Thank you very much.